What is your will, my master?
Hey, what's up, Steven? Quick demo video for you for your 89 Sabers Depa Council hilt. This is the first time that I've done this version. I've done the other one that was a one-button setup, and this one's really cool, right? But there are some stark differences between the two. For one, you've got a two-button setup. You can see your two switches here. You've got a plunger here and one back here. This front one will be your activation, and then this back one is your auxiliary switch. You've got stock V3 MPXLs in here for your lit connector, and I'll fire that up for you here in a second because you were telling me you didn't know what that was. And then you have removable battery setup. So what you want to do is take the pommel off. This is the only place on the saber that opens. So we'll take this off and try not to drop it. When you open it up, you can see your speaker in there and then your chassis, right? You're going to want to get yourself like a little pair of needle nose pliers or something to help you pull this out just a hair because it is super tight. And you pull it out about that far and then you can just pop it out like that. You have a slight diameter variation right in about the middle of this handle. It's not going to pick up well on camera. I can see it. It's a little bit shinier in the back, but it's a fraction smaller than the back, and so that's why the chassis is tight. And here's what you've got when you pull this out. All right, so you've got your Proffie board right here. This is a snap fit down into the shelf, so if you ever need to get to your SD card, I mean, you can see it from there, but you'll need to pop this board up, and you can just pop it up diagonally just enough to get to your SD card and your micro USB slot. Do what you need to do, and then snap it back down into place, and that's how that stays in place there. If you do that over and over time, and you find that it's not staying down as tight as it used to, you can use a little bit of E6000 on the sides of the board and snap it down, and that will hold it nice. I don't like to use tape, so that's what I do there, right? You got a removable battery set up, so spring side, your negative over here. This is using a Smuggler's Outpost switch pixel PCB set. So you got the female PCB right here, and then you've got a 14-pin PCB in there that doesn't move, okay, that stays in place. There's a piece of a chassis in here that you'll never see. On one side, it's holding this connector. On the other side, it's holding that 14-pin PCB. It's also holding your two switches, your tactile switches, and then inside of it, it has two different 3-pixel accents to light up this venting here. On this particular model, there are cutouts underneath this blue shroud if you take this all apart for some shine through. And I can light up those ribs there, so that's what I did for you. They will mimic your blade, okay? And then these 3 screws right here that are meant to be for aesthetics, these are actually your chassis retention for that piece of chassis that's in there and doesn't come out. Actually, I think one of them doesn't go all the way through, and the other 2 were longer, so those are what's holding that in place. All right, we'll put that off to the side. On your battery, it's important on your battery to take the sticker off. This is a Keep Power 18650. I'll send you a link for those. It did have a sticker on it saying what it was, but since this is so tight, I do take the sticker off this guy. All right, so we'll put a battery in now. One more thing about this battery too, if it picks up on camera or not. On all of these, you have a metal piece going from one side all the way to the other. It's a little bit hard to see it in camera, but it's underneath that wrap, and it's consistent on every battery. You want to not put that in the chassis, and I'll show you what I mean. We'll snap the battery in. I've got that piece right here. It's right along the side right here. All right, and that's how you want to put that in. It's just like just every millimeter of room counts in this guy when you're putting this in. We got that battery in. You can put this chassis in however you want. So we'll just slap it in here. It is a tight fit going in, but that's okay. Just kind of push it in. You have it also, you have a 24 millimeter speaker. I was talking to you about trying to put a 28 in here, but it just will not go. I think the idea of this handle is 1.02 inches, and of course a 28 millimeters, 1.1 inches, right? So that was too big, but I was able to fully enclose this 24 millimeter speaker, so it sounds really good. All right, so we'll push that in there a little bit. We'll take our pummel, screw it on, screw it down all the way. Even when you bump into the chassis, keep screwing it in. It's pushing that chassis forward and doing the work for you, and it's making sure that chassis is making connection with that 14 pin PCB I showed you. So when it's locked down all the way, you can come over here and hit activation. And you see you got that shine through right there I was talking about. LEDs firing up. Auxiliary. I didn't give you swing on because there's so much involved with putting this saber together after you put a battery in it. That I didn't want it going off accidentally, but I did give you twist off. All right, so you will have to hit the button and turn it on. But then you can twist it off. Just like that. We'll put a blade in this guy. It takes a 1-inch diameter NeoPixel blade that I was telling you about. I think you and I spoke about different places to get them. I recommended Bendu Armory. You have a blade retention screw right here. That's also hard to see. I'm not going to use it because this blade socket is super tight and it will hold my blade just fine. When you buy a brand new blade, you're probably going to have to do some sanding to it because 89 Sabers is known for just having super tight blade sockets. All right. Blade lockup is holding the auxiliary and hitting the saber. Just like that. It's a little tricky to do, but you'll get the hang of it. We could cycle through some colors. So you can see different colors. If we went to a red, as soon as you find something that you like, just hit either button. And now you can see your shine through, of course, is matching your blade, like I said, because these are wired in line with your blade. Go to another sound font by hitting auxiliary. This is more of like a blue unstable. And then you can see that in your handle as well, right? A good shine through. On these 24 millimeter speakers, you can have them up to 2,000. I like to send them out the door at about 1850 for volume to be on the safe side. So if you want to push that volume a little bit, you can. I just don't like doing it when I'm sending them out. I let you guys do that. All right, and we'll go over another sound font. This hilt is very solid. Good flash on flash. Blade lock up. To get to your soundtracks, it's a long press on the activation button. Let that play for a second. And it's the same thing to turn off, right? It's a long press and then it turns off. We'll go ahead and we'll take the blade out and then go over taking the battery out, which is really easy to do. So again, we'll come over here and take the pummel off. See your chassis. Take your little needle nose pliers or whatever you had to help you pull the chassis out just a hair. Just about that far where you can come in here and reach it and pop it out with your hand. You can hear how airtight that is because it makes that pop when I'm bringing it out. So yeah, it's just super tight. And then you can come over here from the positive side by your speaker. You can pop it out with your finger just like that. And you can see how far that speaker is recessed into that chassis. So it makes it sound really good. And that is so the pommel can push up against this chassis, but you don't have sound distortion, all right, because these two things never touch, or as far as the speaker drum and the pommel. But anyway, that is your that's your Depa Council hilt. Let me know if you got any questions, and if not, I will get this out in the mail to you tomorrow. All right. Thanks.